Hey, I'm Shaq B, and this is On Hard Mode, where I help you get through some of gaming's toughest challenges. And today I want to help you get through God of War on Give Me a Challenge mode. If you find any of my ideas and tips useful, go ahead and give me a like and a share, maybe a sub if you haven't already. Now, I consider God of War to be a cinematic masterpiece, so we will be showing quite a bit of the story to you. But the main thing here, and the most important things, is that we're going to be showing you the extras that I find because they are crucial to completing GMAC mode. So I will be showing you how to beat the Valkyries, Muspelheim challenges, how to master Niflheim, how to utilize runic attacks, and how to optimize stats, skills, and armor.
My bow!
No! You are not ready! Stay back!
That effect that just sprang up around the axe there is called a permafrost. It's an attack boost state that happens when you hit an enemy a certain amount of times. Now, you're not going to be able to activate it the way they do in the game. I guess that was just for cinematic effect. But you will need permafrost because it is very useful for doing frost damage, just giving you a little bit of edge in combat. You'll be able to upgrade it later, and I'll show you when that happens. This first fighting sequence is your chance to get familiar with parrying and the effects of heavy and light attacks. To normal enemies, heavy attacks throw them into the air and Atreus can juggle them with arrows while they're airborne once you get that ability. Larger enemies and higher level enemies usually can't be juggled though, unless you're stunned first by something like the electric arrow debilitation you'll get later on in the game, or if you use runic attacks. And light attacks are used mostly just to get some quick damage in, and usually are only very good when you're adding them to combinations of attacks. Instead of heading left, which is where Atreus wants you to go to be able to get into the temple to go into with the story of the game, there's actually a intersection of 4 ways, and you come up in the beginning of one way. The first thing you want to do is go straight so you can get the game's first Nornir chest. Now, these chests are oftentimes, they will harbor character upgrades like health and rage meter that becomes invaluable later on. So they have 3 seals associated with them, and finding the seals can change from chest to chest, the particular way in which you uncover them. Some of them are timed, some of them are like minigame based a little bit. In this one, you just need to find and break the seals in the room. There's one directly to the right of the chest, one in the back right corner of the room, and one in the open coffin on the left side of the room. This Nornir chest holds one of Idun's apples, which is, when you collect 3 of these apples, it gives you a health boost, and there are 9 of them in the game, so you can get a total of 3 health boosts. Once you're done here, leave the room and head left or right if you were coming from where you initially came from. Follow this path and ignore Atreus. Break open the chest and grab the Hacksilver in the area. If you walk to the edge of the frozen waterfall that you find, you can see a coffin down in a crevice. You'll be going there. So double back, turn right, follow the path, and slide down the chain to have a meet and greet with these 2 mangy-ass wolves. They're simple to deal with, and you can stagger them very easy just by hitting them with light attacks when they get close to you. You want them in like a V formation when both of them are close to you so you can hit them at the same time. So just keep guarding until you can get them close to you like that. By the way, don't be scared. They're easy. Unlike on Give Me God of War mode, they're really difficult to deal with.
They were just hungry.
What?
The wolves. They weren't mean. They were starving.
Yes, I imagine they were.
So head back along the path, head to the final path, and when you enter the temple, you have to face more Draugr. The game will give you a chance to practice axe throwing, but we've already explained it, so just beat the hell out of the Draugr and practice parrying. By the way, I missed a particular chest here if you face the direction of the gate where you have to throw the axe to freeze the cog and get under the gate where you basically where you need to continue on with the story, just turn 180 degrees and head through the door at the back of the room so you can go and get it. Once you're through the gate, turn left and raid the coffin.
Where you going?
Then turn 180 degrees and head up the chain. You can open this gate if you aim the axe at the link holding the explosive pot. I missed it here, so if you just go ahead and look above the gate, you can break the link above it and the pot will fall down and destroy the rocks for you, so you can get in there and grab those chests. Head up the staircase in the area for the game's first giant shrine.
Look here.
Oh, look! It's Skull and Hati, the giant wolves who chase the sun and moon. Where did they come from? How did they get up there? What's happening there at the end? They eat the sun and moon? And then everybody fights? I can't.
After Atreus claims his first kill, you get your first boss battle against the troll Daddy Daddy Four Horns. So the game explains that you can now use Atreus to shoot arrows when you soft lock onto enemies, which means that it's basically the game's auto lock ons. All you have to do is aim your camera in the direction of the enemy. You can press square and Atreus will shoot at the target that the game believes you're aiming the camera at. Sometimes it doesn't really work, but it's not perfect. It's not exactly perfect, even if you're locking on. By the way, you can lock on in the game by pressing R3. Atreus has a limited amount of times he can shoot, starting from 3. You can upgrade this to 4, but the most you'll be upgrading is the cooldown speed and using them in the shooting speed. You can also aim at specific things by holding L2 and pressing square will have Atreus attempt to fire at what you're aiming at. All you really need to do in this fight is keep your distance and throw the axe up Fourhorn's ass. Atreus' arrows are still too weak to do real damage right now. Getting close to Fourhorns is ill-advised because although it seems that he has a pattern of attacking twice and then stops, well, sometimes he can decide to attack multiple times, and he even really has a really fast ground stomp. As far as I know, you can block the ground stomp, but I just avoid the attacks with the large totem. I've never tried to block them, so I don't recommend. Hit the R3 prompt to kill the troll and watch Atreus go apeshit on him.
That's what you get!
Boy.
Think I'm afraid of you!
After witnessing that act of unmasculine childishness, Kratos is thoroughly disappointed, and so he must beat something with his fist. So the game introduces you to stunning enemies, which is done primarily with your fists and shield, and Atreus' arrows once you level them up, and they gain whether it be the light debilitation or the electricity debilitation later on in the game. The grab attacks of the old God of War games are now relegated primarily to the stun feature. It's hard to keep enemies stunned though, so while fighting multiple if you try to go after a weaker enemy with lower health, you're more likely to kill them than you are to stun them. But if you can get their stun bar up and complete, you'll get an R3 prompt, and when you click R3, for pretty much every enemy except larger enemies, it's an instant kill. For larger enemies, or for enemies who are higher tier, it's not going to be an instant kill. You get kind of like a mini game where you get to beat the shit out of them for a little bit. Using stunning attacks only really works particularly on lower tier enemies like Draugr and Hellwalker, so that's where you really want to focus using those types of abilities when you can get the timing down where it's safe for you to try and do it. But it is a viable strategy when you have a lot of enemies going on at one time. After you kill all those Draugr, remember to go to the big, I believe it's like a diamond shaped magic mirror looking thing on the door. You need to at least get close to them to where they log them in your journal. I would actually go up and press circle on them and activate them. After finding all 7 of these, you'll get some experience for completing the task, and you actually, I believe, you get experience just for finding them. These are hidden chambers of Odin, which you will need to go into later on, so they are very important to completing the game, to get almost 100% or 100%, because most of these doors hold Valkyrie fights, and you'll learn about them as we go along. Alright, when you get into this area, just beat the shit out of the Draugr and beat up the Hellwalkers with your fist. After Kratos grabs his wife's ashes, you want to head inside your house so you can bitch at Atreus a little bit.
Inside, boy. Be a weapon. If you control it, use it. You clearly cannot. When you...
I haven't been sick in a long time. I'm better now.
Fine. Again!
Stop it!
Again! Your anger. You can get lost in it. The path ahead is difficult.
After bullying Atreus and chastising him for being a weak bitch, you want to go ahead and answer the door, and you can get the game's first real boss fight.
What do you want?
Assault the Stranger, and here begins the most like visually appealing fight. This is actually the best looking fight, I believe, in the game. So this is a really cool one because you're like flying all over the place and shit and fucking punching each other through the house and stuff. So this fight is pretty simple though, all in all. You don't want to throw the axe or parry him, really. You just want to hold your guard up and wait until he does one of 2 attacks. There's a leap punch that he does that the game slows down as he hits your shield, and you can just click R1 and you get a free hit on him, and it does a crazy amount of damage for that one hit. And then he does a 3-hit combo where he does the same thing. He does that at the end of the 3-hit combo. He does another leap punch, and you get another slowdown. You can just hit him again. That's pretty much all you need to do to win. Anything other than that is really kind of a waste of time, especially if you're dealing with Give Me God of War mode, because it's even more dangerous on that difficulty. Other than that, you really need to just watch out for his Ice Wave attack, where he'll slam the ground, and then there's another attack where he jumps into the air and he comes down on you, and you know, he does like a ground slam. So you just get out of the way of that. You just roll out of the way for that. It's pretty simple stuff. For phase 2, you want to just mash R1 and wail on him while Kratos is beating him into the, you know, beat the shit out of him, and he'll smash down through the house. You get another cinematic there. When you get Spartan Rage, the thing I find about this Spartan Rage is it's unusually high for the long time that you're actually able to use it. But as far as I know, if you get hit, you'll get knocked out of it. So just keep wailing on him and take down his health. It's meant for you to take down his health quite a bit. It'll run out naturally after a while.
I can't feel any of this.
And here you get to witness the bullshit that is Kratos healing his wounds with a grumpy face and clenching his ass muscles. You can't actually do that in the game. In fact, I don't know why they show it here, because you will never see that again. The only time you ever see that is with the stranger in particular that you're fighting. So I'm not really sure why they gave that ability to Kratos. They could have did something where it's like, while you're fighting him, well, if you get Spartan Rage, instead of using the Spartan Rage to boost your attack damage and go into that particular mode, maybe you would be able to transfer that to health. They could have done that, but they didn't decide to do that. It's whatever. So just go ahead and keep doing the same thing that you were doing, blocking those particular attacks that allow you to get that free hit on him. Obviously, when he gets that red halo around him, by the way, I think that this is a new thing. You haven't seen this quite yet in the game, but when an enemy gets that red halo around their body, it comes out from their body, that means that the attack they're doing is unblockable, so you want to dodge every time.
I feel nothing. I will end you. You can't beat me. I'd hope that you, of everyone I'd faced, would finally make me feel something, but you can't.
Was he? He knew me. Did he know my past? How did they find me after all this time? Faye, what do I do? Our son is not ready. to carry your ashes to the top of the mountain. And neither am I. I do not know how to do this without you. But we cannot stay here.
Boy.
There was so much. I thought. You're all right.
I am all right. Come. Gather your things. We are leaving.
Thought I wasn't ready.
You are not. We have no choice now. Prove me wrong.
Yes, sir. The mountain. It's gonna be a long trip.
Yes, but an important one.
Whoa. How did this happen?
So from here, you want to head down in the crevice you created when you fought that asshole that came to your house. Listen to Kratos' words of wisdom and mental compartmentalization and control. For your skills, by the way, while you're here, you should have by now, but if you haven't, you want to buy the Executioner's Cleave. Let that be your first choice, because that's a super damaging attack. Very fast. Once you charge up, it attacks very fast. And you also get iframes when you're doing and when you've actually hit the enemy with the attack. It also kicks an enemy or pushes an enemy into other enemies once you finished it. Gives you just a little bit more time to think about your combat situation and scenario while you have the time to think. Okay, so in this room, there's no combat. It's just a simple chain puzzle and some goodies. Go along the left wall and grab the bling off the corpse, and then break open all the crates and vases. This stuff just gives you extra hack silver. I don't know who the fuck goes around putting all this silver in these vases and then just leaving them. Why the fuck would you do such a thing? I don't know. Forget that. Use the mechanism to lower the bridge. Toss the axe into the gear to freeze it. Then make Atreus lower the chain to climb up, and go left and get the chest across the platform, then hit the hanging pot on the right side of the room to take those goodies. Follow the wall paint and climb out of there.
Okay, nowhere to go from here, except across this bridge. Think you can lower it from there?
Go.
Made it! Good idea!
Boy.
Yes, sir. That hanging bucket. An offering cast? Mother said Odin's disciples fill them with gifts and hang them where thieves can't reach them. The town was really old. What is? Worshipping the gods?
The gods care nothing for them. Men should not pray to monsters.
Father, will we see others on the road?
Yes.
Friendly?
No.
They'll try and rob us?
Possibly. Yes.
Look. All this time, there's been a protection stave around our entire woods. But the stave's broken there. Did you cut those down?
She hand marked the tree she wished used for her pyre.
Why'd she do that?
Come. No looking back now.
This is pretty weird, but you can go to this cliff and commit Eviicide if you want to kill these defenseless baby birds, you sick bastard. There's a fight with some Draugr up ahead, so take them down, but this is where they introduce the fire-slinging Draugr, or the Draugr ranged. Be careful of the second phase, because it spawns a bunch of these ranged assholes with some melee guys around you. You generally want to kite all the melee guys into one area of the room, and then dodge around them and run over to the ranged guy and just pummel them, because ranged enemies will usually have a lot less health and be lower level than melee enemies.
Whoa! Denver goes fire! How does he do that?
Boy, focus! Keep the pressure on!
How was that? Did I help?
Distract them. Whoever is not my focus should be yours, but only when safe to do so.
I can do that.
By the way, remember to keep putting Atreus to good use and keep shooting enemies ever so often. They will actually, the cool thing about this game is that they will actually comment on Atreus's use. So if you don't use him enough, he'll say, you know, I can shoot more often or something like that. It's pretty cool. Once they're done, go ahead and raid the area, including cutting down all the hanging pots. There's 2 in the area, and make sure you check the trees. And with that, we're done with part 1. Once again, thanks for tuning in to On Hard Mode. I'm Shaq B, and I will see you in part 2.
Take the fires! Sigmund, your knives! So many days without meat.
Meat? Wait, to us?
Come then. We have a long journey. Wait here. I will handle this.